Don't blink. Don't even blink. In this rapidly changing world we live in, if we blink for just a moment, we can miss out on a wide variety of experiences that are all around us. The way I see it, since programs at MCC are designed to be 2-year programs, by the time you finish your associate's degree, it will have taken less than 1/10 of your life to achieve it. By the time we retire, that's less than 1/30 of our life spent to get our degree. It goes by in a relative blink of an eye. Many of us will just focus on schoolwork during that time. We'll focus on just getting it done and getting through college. When we look back at this time of our life, we may only remember getting the degree. We'll find that we blinked and the time went by much too quickly. Unfortunately, that's how you miss out on some of the greatest aspects of MCC. The ability to experience a diverse selection of courses at a low cost, and the opportunity to take a chance on a class that may seem interesting but doesn't necessarily fit into your program. For me, that's what has made all the difference. When I enrolled at MCC for the first time in the fall of 2009, I hadn't really decided what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I enrolled as a music major. I figured that since I'd been in choir my whole life, and then state honors and all state honors choir, it was a natural next step. However, when I started studying music, I began to realize that perhaps it wasn't my calling. It wasn't that I wasn't a good musician, but rather I wasn't as passionate as I felt I had to be in order to make music my first career. What seemed like the natural choice wasn't the right choice. So I made it through the first year and then withdrew from the program. After that, I began coasting through college on gen ed credits. My third semester was strictly gen ed. I didn't engage myself in any of my courses, and I really didn't decide what I wanted to do long term. Enrolled in my fourth semester, I realized I was one English class away from graduating. As you can imagine, I was slightly panicked at the thought of graduating when I hadn't even decided on a major. I started the semester cautiously, but when I got to my Friday morning class, a CIS 120 class taught by Jim Landis, Jim Landis quickly became a role model for me. He taught me new ways of thinking and taught me about new technologies. By the midterm, I knew that this was what I wanted to do with my life. So by this point, I was faced with a tough decision. I had found my passion, but I was just about to graduate. I was forced to choose, graduate on time, or pursue a degree in a field that really intrigued me, that I was passionate about. That's when I decided to pursue my passion. The next fall, I took on 17 credits of CIS courses, ranging from game scripting to mid-range programming to networking to beyond. Within the first week, each of my professors had called me crazy for taking so many classes of something I had never even heard of before. But I loved it. Since then, over the course of the past 2 years, I've grown to know and respect these professors as individuals, but also as friends and mentors. I could never fully describe all they've done for me, but I'd like to briefly recognize them. First is Jim Landis, who not only launched me into the field of computer science, but also taught me valuable lessons about problem solving and creativity, and also leadership. Shar Parker, CIS coordinator, deserves much of my respect and a lot of deep gratitude for the many long road trips to conferences and the even longer hours of conversation just sitting in her office. In fact, because of her, my career began much sooner than I could have even hoped. I'd also like to thank John Johnson for his willingness to always challenge me. More than most, he's been a force of driving me to the next level of my achievement. I'd also like to thank Greg Miller, the networking professor, who was consistently determined to make his students succeed, and it paid off, at least for me. Although him and I poke fun at each other, he's one of the kindest men you'll ever meet. Finally, I'd like to thank Dave Stradell, who pushed me into the elevator pitch competition, Christopher Van Oosterhout, who has always been encouraging and willing to lend me resources, and Irene Church, who has always been uplifting and helpful, even though I've never even taken one of her classes. Because I followed my passion, and I immersed myself into the whole new world of technology, I have thrived both in my career and in my life. I am truly blessed to do what I love. I have worked for 4 technology companies, including MCC's Office of Information Technology, which afforded me one of my most beneficial experiences to date. I have proven that by pursuing your passion, you can revolutionize your life. And this is not just true for me, but it can be for you, too, as you go into a larger world, maybe at a new university, maybe in a new career. No matter where you go, you can and you should seek out what you are passionate about. So, my fellow students, graduates, and all of my fellow people, I beseech you to find what you love to do. Find your passion and pursue it. Life is only a short time, but, to quote Abraham Lincoln, in the end, it's not the years in a life. It's your life in those years. With that in mind, explore your opportunities. Do what you love, and love what you do. Experience life to live fully, and most importantly, don't blink.
Thank you, David. Continue to pursue your passion. Please welcome our second speaker, Robert Boyer, to the podium, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, my name is Robert Boyer. I'm honored to be graduating from Muskegon Community College with my associate's degree. Next fall, I'll be attending Grand Valley and enrolling in the Reserve Officer Training Corps program, also known as ROTC. There, I'll continue pursuing my degree in history. When I graduate, I'll be commissioned as an officer in the United States Army and continue to serve alongside some of the most amazing, craziest men that I've ever had the privilege of meeting. I have to admit that when I first heard I was nominated to be speaking at graduation, I was more than a little surprised. I would envision the graduate speaker to have straight A's and a long list of academic accomplishments. I, on the other hand, have always been a student that has struggled academically. When I was younger, I struggled daily in school and felt very defeated. Matter of fact, my 6th grade teacher told my parents at conferences that I'd amount to nothing but a kid pumping gas for the rest of my life. Although those words hurt me, I will never let them define me. I'm very proud to have made the dean's list a few times. I will never forget getting those letters in the mail and putting them on the fridge next to my kids' elementary artwork. Most of the grades I've earned were A's, but there were a few C's too, and subjects that were very difficult for me, such as math and philosophy. These classes were very challenging, but taught me about perseverance. I was just as proud, if not more proud, of my C's because I had worked so hard to earn that grade, but I did it. I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for the many wonderful, amazing people who've given me love, support, and countless hours of tutoring. My mom and dad for always believing in me, always standing up for me, and always being here for me. My beautiful wife, Dana, thank you for your love and support and for putting up with me for over 11 years, as well as giving me 2 wonderful children. Thanks for pushing me to take the first history class with you. You are truly an amazing woman. I love you. I would also like to thank all my professors that I've had over the past few years, especially Mr. Ike, Mr. Maniotis, and Mr. Troutman, for being such great professors. I'm privileged to have mentors like you that are bigger history geeks than I am. Pursuing my passion is the theme of my speech tonight, and if you ask anyone who knows me, they'll tell you that my #1 passion is talking. I want everyone to know that my faith, family, the Army, and history, especially Civil War history, are what I'm truly passionate about. MCC's taught me a lot about myself and many other things, but history is what I love the most. If it wasn't for that first Gettysburg class, I would have never found my biggest passion in life. Walking the field at Gettysburg gave me new eyes to understand the great history of our nation. While in this class, I was asked to choose a topic for research, and like most college students, I found myself Googling the subject. Under Gettysburg officers, my obvious first pick was this man with an incredible, unmistakable mustache. In my house, you will find 6 paintings of this man, a bobblehead doll, a 6-pack of beer that's named after him, a tattoo of one of his quotes on my right arm. Some people tease me by saying that I've developed somewhat of a man crush. They say man crush, I say hero. The cool man with the mustache that I speak of is none other than Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain is a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient from his heroic actions at Gettysburg at Little Round Top. Chamberlain was a man of God and an amazing leader to his men. His mission and his men were his passion. He accomplished many things too numerous to list in 5 minutes, and I would love to tell you all about it, but we all have time hacks we have to meet. Chamberlain is a man that has inspired the way that I live and the way that I lead. I truly believe that success comes from who we let inspire our journey and our passion in life. Besides my love for history, MCC's taken me on many other great journeys. I've ballroom danced, watched Urinetown the musical, collected water samples to examine from the watershed. I've learned I don't like truth functional logic because it's just like math, and math and I don't get along. I've given speeches from how to cook breakfast to none other than Joshua Chamberlain. I learned that General Longstreet's not to blame for the loss of the Civil War, and that I would march with General William Tecumseh Sherman any day. Michigan's the greatest state in the Union, and made and continues to make the greatest American muscle car in U.S. history. By greatest, I'm referring to the Ford Mustang, of course. I've made a lot of friends along the way, learned about so many things, and gone through an amazing journey. That is only the beginning of my story. I am proud to say that MCC's given me an opportunity to be someone that I never thought I could be, and someone that most people thought I could never be, a college graduate. No speech of mine would be complete without a quote from Joshua Chamberlain. This quote reflects the many people who've helped me over the years to be able to cross this stage today. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain spoke these very words at the main monument dedication speech at Gettysburg on October 3rd, 1889. The inspiration of a noble cause involving human interest wide and far enables men to do things they did not dream themselves capable of before, and which they were not capable of alone. The conciseness of belonging vitally to something beyond individuality, of being part of personality that reaches we know not where in space and time, greatens the heart to the limits of the soul's ideal and builds out the supreme of character. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Have an outstanding night.